Office of Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia based in Washington, D.C. Before we get into today's program, I do have a few quick housekeeping reminders. All participants will be muted throughout the conference. The conference will consist of two segments: welcome and opening remarks, and a panel discussion including Ukrainian women-led businesses. We will be holding a general Q&A session at the end of the conference. Please use the chat box at the bottom of your screen to type in questions during each session. We will be monitoring all questions, and for those questions we don't have time to answer today, we will get back to you offline with answers. Interpretation will be provided for today's conference. Presentations in English will be interpreted into Ukrainian and presentations in Ukrainian into English. If you need interpretation, open the globe icon located at the bottom of your screen and select the language for interpretation accordingly. We will be recording today's conference. If you object, please disconnect now. We will also send all participants a copy of slides from today's presentation. We have an excellent and full agenda today. This virtual conference, titled "The Importance of Empowering Women in Rebuilding Ukraine's Economy," is the first one of the series of 6 conferences to support Ukrainian women-led businesses. It will set the stage for the next virtual conferences that will include more detail on subjects related to shifting roles of women in the Ukrainian economy, technical barriers encountered by Ukrainian women-led businesses, including access to capital and financial resources, supply chain and exporting obstacles, and challenges related to displacement. Our goal for this virtual conference and all other conferences that will follow is to allow the US government, the Ukrainian government, and other stakeholders to hear directly from the Ukrainian women-led businesses about the most pressing challenges and barriers they currently face. We want to provide the policymakers in the United States and in Ukraine with a better understanding of market reforms needed in Ukraine to more effectively support Ukrainian women-led businesses and position them for business success. Again, we are glad that you are here today, and we hope that you will be able to attend our future virtual conferences as well. To begin today's program, we will hear opening remarks from the representatives of the United States and Ukrainian government, the American Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine, and the Women's Opportunity Fund of Ukraine. After that, we will hear a panel discussion with Ukrainian women-led businesses to hear directly from them on what is currently most needed in Ukraine to support the growth of their businesses. Without any further delay, please allow me to introduce you to the US Ambassador to Ukraine, Bridget Brink. Ambassador Brink arrived in Ukraine in May 2022, and since then, she has been a vocal supporter of Ukrainian women while recognizing their important role in the Ukrainian economy. Madam Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Agnes, thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And hello to all of my colleagues and friends on the line. It's great to see you, and I can't wait to hear from you for this conference. I want to say I'm delighted to be joined by Ukraine's ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markarova. Great to see you, Oksana. My colleague in Washington, Undersecretary of Commerce for International Trade, Marisa Lago. Great to see you. We are so happy to have you here. First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy, Yulia Svyrydenko. I don't know if I see her on there, but maybe she is here. AmCham Ukraine Vice President, Tetyana Prokopchuk. And hi, Tetyana, Anne-Marie Robinson, and other distinguished panelists. And I want to say a very, very warm welcome to all Ukrainian businesswomen joining us today. Empower Her is more than a program. It's a testament to the strength, leadership, and hope of the Ukrainian businesswomen. Since Russia's unprovoked invasion, Ukrainian women have stepped up as entrepreneurs, innovators, and leaders. Many of you have become the sole breadwinners while men fight on the front lines, taking on crucial roles in keeping Ukraine's economy running, despite such tremendous challenges. From launching new ventures to adapting your businesses in the face of adversity, Ukrainian women have been at the heart of economic recovery of Ukraine. And your contributions are not just about survival, they are about growth. You are creating jobs, sustaining industries, and driving innovation across sectors like tech, manufacturing, and agriculture. You are not only keeping businesses alive, but actively fueling Ukraine's economic progress. Your leadership is indispensable, and you are laying the groundwork for the country's future. The goal of today's virtual conference and the conferences that will follow is to hear directly from you, Ukrainian women-led businesses, about the most pressing challenges that you have. Your voices will help both the United States and the Ukrainian governments better understand the reforms needed to position your business for sustainable growth. We are committed to supporting you as you drive Ukraine's economy forward, even during these difficult times. And since arriving in Kyiv in May of 2022, I've taken a special interest in supporting Ukrainian women, including business women, and ensuring that your voices are heard. Ukrainian women are critical, not just to Ukraine's recovery, but also to rebuilding a stronger, even more prosperous nation. The private sector will be key to leapfrogging Ukraine into the future, and women like you are at the forefront of that transition. We know this war is the strategic challenge of our time, of our generation. My goal is to see Ukraine as an independent, prosperous European country integrated into the EU and to NATO, and the contributions of Ukrainian women will be crucial to that vision that you have and that we share. Your creativity, leadership, and determination are not only driving economic recovery, but also shaping Ukraine's future as a dynamic, inclusive, strong, and independent society. As we move forward through this and future conferences, we want to continue listening to you and learning how we can better support you and your businesses. And together, we can help Ukraine win this war and ensure a free market that promotes equality, inclusivity, and opportunity for all. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I encourage you to actively participate in this critical discussion. Thank you, and Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. We are grateful for your ongoing support for Ukrainian women, and our Empower Her initiative. Thank you so much. Now let's welcome Ukraine's ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markarova. Ambassador Markarova was nominated Ukraine's ambassador to the United States in February 2021, and she arrived in Washington, D.C. in April 2021. Prior to becoming the ambassador, Ms. Markarova served as Ukraine Minister of Finance and First Deputy Minister and Government Commissioner on Investments. She is well known for her tireless support for Ukrainian women while underlying their important role in Ukraine's economy. Madam Ambassador, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Agnes, and Heroyam Slava, dear Bridget. It's such an honor to be here with remarkable women, with my sister ambassador, with Undersecretary Marisa Lago, who is together with her amazing boss, Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimonda, tireless friends of Ukraine here, but also friends of business, investment, and democracy, regardless of the nationality, because our true friends here understand how important it is for Ukraine not only to win the war, but also to rebuild itself as a much stronger economic force. Now, thank you very much for both Commerce and State for this very important seminar. I hope it's first, but it's not the last one, because empowering women, especially women in business and women in entrepreneurship, is very important. Just last night here in Ukraine House, we had a literature event with one of my favorite contemporary writers, Andriy Lyubka. And he has one of the books, which is called What is Wrong with Me? And I think, of course, we need to discuss the barriers and everything else, but I really want to ask everyone, while discussing how to empower women, to focus on what is right about all of us and how actually we can turn even challenges, and there are many, into opportunities, and how we together can empower those women who already are doing amazing things, but also to support each other. Now, today is 972nd day of war, of the full-fledged war. And it's already more than 10 years since the war started in 2014. And despite the fact that war is always horrible destruction, and I don't need to tell everyone, especially to our wonderful participants from Ukraine, what does it mean to live and work during the war. But also we have seen how women took this challenge and also overperformed during this horrible 2.5 years. Even on the front lines, in the armed forces, we have now one of the highest percentage of women in the armed forces, and we lifted all the restrictions for women to participate in any activities defending the state. But also we see remarkable examples of women entrepreneurs, women local leaders, women who essentially had to change their profession sometimes twice already during this time. And it's not comes by this as a surprise that the majority, more than 50% of the new entrepreneurs, small businesses founded in Ukraine, for example, in 2023, 56% is actually done by women. And there are more than 10,000 companies that have been registered, which are led by women. Now, the typical, one of the researches that have been conducted, what is the typical entrepreneur? Just looking across the board, not singling out women, just asking everyone, what is a typical entrepreneur during the war? And it turned out that it's a, if I'm not mistaken, 36-year-old individual with 2 children. And it turned out that that individual more likely to be a woman. So I think, there is a lot we can not only learn from that, but pool our resources together and energies together in order to support women to do it more. Because right now it's not just something that we can discuss at the conferences. It has been proven by so many studies. And we have started this week the IMF World Bank annual gatherings here. And there will be lots of researches about that and results. But when women lead, and when women lead, especially in business, it's not just the nice thing to do. It's not just a fair thing to do. It's also a very economically viable and efficient things to do for any state. And where women participate more in economy, we clearly see better results. Now, in order for women to do it better, in order for women to be able to do it, in order for women to sustain the effort, because we know how many women actually try and enter into business, and then because of lack of access to capital, because women traditionally also take care of the family, because women and I've seen it at the Ministry of Finance, where not only we introduced the gender-oriented budgeting for Ukraine, and we're one of the pioneer companies even in Europe to do that, but also every time you offer a woman a raise, the first question she says is whether I will be able to drive my kids to school, or how much time. I mean, rarely men ask that question when you suggest them a promotion. They say, thank you, yes, So in order for women to be able to succeed, we have to listen to women. And that's why I'm so happy that the participants of this seminar are actually women who do it on a daily basis. And, listening to the barriers and discussing how we can overcome it is so important and very timely. So I would like to, again, thank the organizers for putting this amazing group together. Let's make it very practical, and let's, after this, give more work for me and Bridget to work with our governments on what is it that we can do in order for the next year, discussing even better numbers, and hopefully doubling down and with our partners winning the war and focusing on how we win the peace and how we build Ukraine, which is a regional and global power and an answer to so many challenges that we have right now. Thank you, everyone, and have a great discussion.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. We very much appreciate your joining us today. And the key word here is practical. We really want to make it as practical and useful as possible for everyone who joined and will benefit from the final report of this conference series. So thank you again for joining us. Now let me invite the Undersecretary of Commerce for International Trade, Marisa Lago, to deliver her remark. And before she does, I will just mention that Undersecretary Lago leads the International Trade Administration's efforts to assist American businesses expanding into international market. She also enforces fair trade policies, provides comprehensive trade analysis, promotes travel and tourism to the United States, and engages in commercial diplomacy across the globe. Madam Undersecretary, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Agnes. I want to emphasize that as important as today's event is, it is not a one-off. Agnes, as you noted, this is part of a series, but I think equally importantly is the long-term commitment and engagement between our two governments. Ambassador Bridget, you so warmly welcomed me to Kyiv this past summer. I have been to, I believe, 37 different US embassies around the globe in my under 3 years on the job. What I was struck by in Kyiv was the solidarity, the cohesiveness, the way you brought the whole of US government to our support for Ukraine. Ambassador Oksana, I cannot say enough good things about you. We first met when we were both at finance ministries, and it has been such a delight, but not a surprise, to see how you have taken on the entire broader remit of representing your proud country, a country while at war, your efficacy in working with US government, with US Congress. And on a personal level, I have to thank you. I last week got to see the National Ballet of Ukraine for the second time in my life. The first time in Kyiv 30 years ago, and then when you brought them to Washington for their first performance since the fall of the Soviet Union. The fact that at a time of war, you still lift up and celebrate the proud culture of Ukraine is part of this optimism. It's part of ultimately winning the peace. Now, not surprisingly, given that Ambassador Oksana and I come from finance ministries, and that I am now at a commerce ministry, we are very, very focused on the economics, on the role of business, of the private sector. As I mentioned, I had the opportunity of being in Kyiv this past summer, where I met with an amazing array of Ukrainian businesswomen. And what struck me was the swath of different industries that were represented. It went from agriculture to aerospace to financial services to pharmaceuticals. And as Ambassador Oksana noted, yes, there are the ethical imperatives of supporting women, and particularly of supporting Ukrainian women at this time, but it just plain makes good business sense. And that is why I was so honored when First Deputy Prime Minister Yulia welcomed us in government building in Kyiv, and then traveled to meet with my amazing boss, Secretary Gina Raimondo, just continuing these long-term relationships that are going to be so essential to recognizing not just the near-term and the short-term needs of Ukraine, but focusing on long-term economic recovery, resilience, and growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Undersecretary, for this inspiring course. We are thankful for your leadership and support for Ukrainian women. Now we will hear a pre-recorded message from Ukraine's First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy, Yulia Svyrydenko. Ms. Svyrydenko started her career in the private sector and served in leadership positions for several organizations specializing in economic development, trade, and agriculture in Ukraine. In 2021, she was appointed First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy of Ukraine. Ms. Svyrydenko supports US-Ukraine cooperation, and she's a champion for women's participation in Ukraine's economy. Let's play Ms. Minister Svyrydenko's message, please.
Esteemed colleagues, the role of women in the Ukrainian economy is changing. We are witnessing a trend where more and more women and girls are starting their own businesses and choosing professions previously dominated by men. For example, In frontline Kharkiv, we now have the first female metro driver. I'm deeply grateful to each of Ukrainian women for their contribution to our resilience. For me, essence of this resilience is in the story of Natalia from Pokrovsk. When we met at the steel production factory in the summer, she told me, "I want to be an example to my children of how to stand firm where others might break." That phrase has stayed with me for all these months. Our task as a government is to create conditions for such women. We are focusing on 3 key areas: legislative changes, business creation programs, and training programs to enhance employment opportunities. Regarding legislative changes, I would like to thank Marisa Lago for supporting our efforts to modernize labor law. Unfortunately, Ukraine still operates under the Soviet Union Labor Code, which contains discrimination norms. For example, women with children under 3 years old cannot travel on business trips. Women are prohibited from working night shifts, and there are no legal basis for remote or home-based work. In the new labor code, we have removed all these outdated norms. It will include 8 types of labor contracts, in particular those allowed remote and home-based work. Both parents, regardless of gender, will be able to take paternity leave to take care of their children up to 3 years old. For the first time, we will include in law the principle of equal pay. Second, we are making it easier to start a business. We are implementing a range of granting programs, both state-run and partnership with donors. Those include grants for female veterans, wives of veterans and fallen defenders, as well as the CREATE program for women-owned processing enterprises. The most popular is state-owned grant of $6,500 for starting or growing a business. Third, training programs. We have numerous state and partner programs. For instance, we issue training vouchers, now available for 95 professions and 60 specialists. 72% of voucher recipients are women, and interestingly, they are increasing choosing professions like welding, security, and heavy machinery operation. On a global and systemic level, we have launched the Skill Alliance with our partners. Nearly 50 countries, donors, international partners, and business representatives have joined this initiative. It will help 180,000 Ukrainians acquire new skills or upgrade their qualification over the next 3 years. I encourage US to actively join this initiative and strengthen the capabilities of Ukrainian human capital. The capacity of women and business led by women is the foundation of our resilience. Unfortunately, as you know, we face a shortage of labor market. Men have gone to fight, and many women have had to become new leaders of communities and business. That's why we must provide them with the tools, knowledge, resources, and support to break through the glass ceiling, overcome stereotypes. We need to foster a sense of sisterhood and give women and girls feeling of their importance to the country and to each of us. Because it's truly so. The taxes they pay from their business are helping us to protect our rights to call ourselves Ukrainians.
Thank you very much. Knowing how extremely busy she is, we are very grateful to the First Deputy Prime Minister Svyrydenko for making the time to record this message. Thank you so much for making this happen. Now we will ask Tetyana Prokopchuk, the Vice President of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine, to share with us AmCham's perspective on the role of women-led businesses in Ukraine's economy. Tetyana has been a part of the AmCham Ukraine team for 11 years. She's an experienced business professional with a special interest in supporting women's participation in the Ukrainian economy. Tetyana is the leader of a personal development and business networking AmCham's Ukraine platform called Women's Executive Leadership Development Initiative, WELDI. She's also leading AmCham's Ukraine Empower Her initiative that, in collaboration with the US Department of Commerce, aims to promote the role of women in international business and trade. Tetyana, the floor is yours.
Agna, thank you very much for your kind introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. It's such a great honor and privilege to be here with you in such a company with extraordinary leaders during this important conference on empowering women in rebuilding Ukraine's economy. And congratulations with this important initiative. First of all, dear Ambassador Brink, dear Undersecretary Lago, we are extremely grateful to the US government, to the US Embassy, to American people, and to the US companies for all your support and for everything you do for Ukraine on our path to victory. Also, we are extremely grateful for the amazing cooperation with your teams, with Agnes, with Tanner, with Yulia, with Sarah, within the Empower Her initiative. We already launched a number of important projects together to empower Ukrainian women, and we look forward to do more and to see more tangible results. Dear Madam Ambassador Markarova, a massive thank you for your leadership and thank you very much for your service. We at WMChem Ukraine has been delivering the voice of the business community since 1992. 600 member companies that invested more than $50 billion to the economy and stay committed to Ukraine. And we see the phenomenal resilience demonstrated by business. 85% of the member companies, they're fully operational after more than 2 years of Russia full-scale war. We see lots of success stories. At the same time, we see a lot of challenges. First of all, it's safety and security, health and mental health, Russia attacks on vital infrastructure and critical assets, energy supply, and we feel that international support to Ukraine is extremely important. Our companies continue working, paying taxes, and supporting communities. And our job is to provide maximum support to support our companies here on the ground. Speaking about the reform agenda and speaking about suggestions, delivering the voice of the business community to the government of Ukraine is one of our key pillars. And we are very grateful to First Deputy Minister Svyrydenko. We are very grateful to the government, to Ambassador Markarova for all the cooperation that we have 24/7 and joint work on moving the reform agenda forward. We have very clear priorities in terms of Ukraine economic recovery, like 10 priorities, 10 steps that we believe that will greatly contribute to the process, and actually modernizing the labor code, as mentioned, the First Deputy Minister Svyrydenko is one of the key topics because it allows and it will allow greater economic engagement and greater economic empowerment of women. And speaking about the economic recovery, it is very important to stress the role of women in this process because we see outstanding leadership demonstrated by Ukrainian women in the armed forces, volunteering, supporting communities, delivering the voice of Ukraine internationally, moving the reform agenda forward, and keeping the economy up and running. And Ambassador Bridget Brink already mentioned that women have started over half of businesses in Ukraine since Russia's full-scale war. And we understand that empowering, supporting women leadership aspirations, providing women access to finance, to opportunities, to network. This is the investment into Ukrainian future. Agnes already mentioned that we take very seriously women empowerment. We have our Valdi platform for more than a decade, and we are very proud that 93 member companies are led by women. Such companies like ADM, Boeing, MasterCard, Pfizer, P&G, UPS, Visa, and more. And we look forward to seeing more women and creating more opportunities for them and for the next generation of women leaders. We're also very delighted to have visionary and strong women on our MCHEM board. Chair of the board, Lena Kosharny, founding partner and CEO of Horizon Capital, Yulia Batridinova, managing director at McDonald's Ukraine, Czech Republic, and Slovakia, and Olena Sereda, general manager, Coca-Cola, Ukraine and Moldova. So we strongly believe that women's leadership and economic empowerment will play an exceptional role in the Ukraine recovery. We look forward to continue our cooperation. We look forward to continue to do more. We look forward to strengthen US-Ukraine economic ties in strong and resilient Ukraine.
Thank you, Tetyana. We are thankful to have AmCham Ukraine partnering with us on numerous Empower Her initiatives to support Ukrainian women-led businesses. Thank you. We will now turn to our State Department colleague, MaryAnn Robinson, who will speak about the importance of commercial diplomacy in supporting and rebuilding Ukraine. MaryAnn is the senior manager of the US State Department's program called Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. This program provides female business owners with knowledge, networks, and access needed to start and scale successful businesses. It also emphasizes the private-public partnership to help US embassies around the world reach their goals, including the goal to support women. MaryAnn, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Agnes. I hope you can hear me and see my screen. there's a lot. I'm trying to show some photos, but as mentioned, my name is MaryAnn Robinson, and I'm very excited to be with you here today and to talk about how the U.S. Department of State is supporting Ukrainian women entrepreneurs. As mentioned, I'm the program manager for the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs program, covering Europe and South and Central Asia. AWE, is an economic empowerment exchange program that was established by the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs in partnership with Arizona State University's Thunderbird School of Global Management and the Freeport-McMoran Foundation. Operating in more than 100 countries and economies worldwide, AWE has engaged with approximately 25,000 women entrepreneurs to support them in their journeys to reach their full economic potential. Before Russia's brutal full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, AWE was being implemented in Ukraine with great success, empowering over 50 women entrepreneurs with the professional skills, networks, and access that they need to launch or scale successful businesses. After the full-scale invasion, we began to think about how we could use this public diplomacy program in support of those women that remained in country and those that relocated to other countries in Europe. So from 2023 to July of 2024, our team implemented the AWE Rebuild Ukraine project, which leveraged US and European expertise to enhance business skills, promote cross-border connections, and initiate innovative solutions for Ukrainian women entrepreneurs. The AWE Rebuild Ukraine project's primary objective was to leverage AWE alumni communities across Europe and their knowledge gained from working with US experts to further empower Ukrainian women entrepreneurs with business skills and networking opportunities, create strategic alliances among Ukrainian women entrepreneurs and alumni in neighboring countries, and to use design thinking approaches to ultimately rebuild Ukraine's war-damaged entrepreneurial ecosystem. Short-term outcomes included immediate improvement in participants' businesses and the establishment of cross-border collaborations. And our hope is that long-term goals will involve sustained skill enhancement, enduring cross-border business networks, measurable economic impact, innovation, and the rejuvenation of Ukraine's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Let's see if I can change the slide. There we go. So to further foster vital cross-border connections between Ukrainian women entrepreneurs, the AWE Rebuild Ukraine Summit held in Ljubljana, Slovenia in June of 2024 brought together 70 of these Ukrainian women from across the European continent to leverage US business expertise and technology to build business acumen, create sustainable growth, and foster greater networking among women-led businesses throughout the region with an eye towards revitalizing the entrepreneurial landscape of Ukraine. Participants at the summit were the Ukrainian exchange alumni of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs who completed the program in Bulgaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Germany, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, and of course, Ukraine. The summit was hosted by the U.S. Embassy in Ljubljana in coordination with our implementing partner, Seed Slovenia, and featured workshops, panel discussions, and keynotes, fostering cross-border collaboration and creating an enduring international peer-to-peer community. It was an inspiring, culminating event that showcased the power of public and commercial diplomacy. 7 of the participants came to the summit from Ukraine with incredible stories of courage and innovation. The summit served not only as an educational and networking event, but also as a respite from the physical and mental burdens that many of these women are still experiencing every day at home. Some alumni participated in the final pitch competition, which provided winners with seed funding for their businesses either in Ukraine or in their new host countries. Access to capital is, of course, still one of the main hurdles that women are facing in scaling their business, so we were very excited to be able to provide that. The winner of the pitch competition was an inspiring woman named Iryna, who I believe is with us on the call today, co-owner of VG, a scarf company based in Ukraine that also received a small grant from the AW program at the start of the full-scale invasion in 2022 to help keep her business going. And now Iryna is paying it forward by working with charitable foundations in support of children and women in Ukraine. And as I said, I'm looking forward to hearing from Iryna in just a bit. The All Rebuild Ukraine project is just one example of the US government's unwavering support for Ukraine and the importance of commercial diplomacy in rebuilding Ukraine. It really enforced the shared desire for a bright and prosperous future for all Ukrainians. Thank you so much for letting me be with you here today, and I look forward to listening to the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, MaryAnn. We are grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with the State Department on this important project and to underline the importance of both business and commercial diplomacy in supporting Ukraine. Thank you for this valuable perspective. Now let's pass it over to Vlada Nedak, the CEO of the Women's Opportunity Fund of Ukraine, to tell us how it supports small women-owned businesses that need to rebuild or expand. Vlada, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join the conference. I will share my slides. I joined organization Project Yashar Ukraine, all Jewish women organization. 24 роки тому, я прийду на українську, мені буде так простіше. Ось так, бачу свої слайди. І всі 24 роки перебуваючи з цією організацією, я дуже багато років вивчала, займалася гуманітарними проєктами, просвітницькими проєктами. І на початку повномасштабного вторгнення я зрозуміла і відчула, що закривати потреб жінок має сенс не тільки в щоденній потребі. В моменті, коли було супер важко, вже була ідея і відчутно від жінок запит на те, що ті, хто залишається в Україні, продовжують працювати, потребують підтримки, потребують колаборації. І саме в цей момент, в квітні 22-го року, був створений фонд «Жіночі можливості в Україні», який саме своєю назвою відповідає на питання, задля кого ми працюємо. Тому що жінки, попри всі обставини, продовжують шукати можливості, продовжують бути незалежними, заробляти для своїх родин, для своєї громади, для своєї держави. З одного боку, ми бачимо, і про це казала пані посол, про те, що жінка зараз підприємиця так виглядає, що молода жінка 36 років, але маючи нашу експертизу і підтримуючи більше 2 років жінок в бізнесі, ми бачимо, що є і жінки 40 плюс років, і жінки 50 років, які не просто починають бізнес, які успішно були жінками в бізнесі, але втратили все, і навіть ті, хто починає життя заново в 3-й раз. І таким жінкам приходить на допомогу саме наш фонд «Жіночі можливості в Україні». Тому що, наприклад, пані Олена з міста Дніпра, яка вже відкрила 2-гу філію випічки і гарного свіжого хліба і кав'ярні навколо цієї історії, їй 56 років. І її остереження було податися на грантову пропозицію від нашого фонду дуже складно, тому що вона вірила, що це більше для молодих жінок. Тому наша мета – підтримувати всіх і бути виключенням іноді для деяких програм, які зараз існують для жінок середнього віку. Наш фонд «Жіночі можливості в Україні» фінансується здебільшого нашою партнерською організацією, благодійними фондами, внесками і родинними фондами єврейського походження. І з моменту заснування ми вже підтримали соціальних проєктів, в тому числі і надали грантів жіночому бізнесу на 26 мільйонів гривень. І трохи більше вам показати і розказати про саме які бізнеси і хто до нас приходять. По-перше, перший наш конкурс був всеукраїнського характеру, далі ми пішли по регіонам. І я сьогодні з свого рідного міста, тут розташований офіс організації міста Кривого Рогу, і іноді на питання, наскільки мені тут знаходиться, я кажу, що мені тут дуже гарно все видно і відчувається, як будується бізнес і в яких умовах іноді суперважких продовжують працювати жінки, виконувати свої обов'язки мами, підтримки великої родини, чоловіків. Тому здебільшого ми бачимо, що зараз сфери, в яких жінки відкривають і розвивають бізнес, це і освіта, і медицина. Це дуже цікаво. Зауважити, що онлайн навчання, а також медичні послуги переходять в таку приватний іноді сектор. Крафтове виробництво, фермерство. Ми зараз розробляємо наступний наш грант саме для агробізнесу, і це невеликі бізнес-представники, а це невеличкі фермерки, жінки, або ті, хто розвивають навіть на 5-6 гектарах, невеличких полях своє сільськогосподарське підприємництво. Харчування, легкова промислість, переробка овочів і фруктів, торгівля і навіть кіноіндустрія, зелений туризм. І є, звісно, є послуги б'юті, реклама, фотографія, дизайн. Це бізнес, який ми вже підтримали. На сьогоднішній день ми забезпечили гранти 120 жінкам-підприємицям з Дніпропетровської, Одеської, Миколаївської, Кіровоградської, Черкаської областей. Ми вже на підступах до Києва і Київського регіону, і таким чином за наступний рік ми покроємо регіонально всі області. В загальної кількості ми бачимо, що 25% наших підприємець, яких ми підтримали, це нові, які виникли під час війни. Паралельно з цим я хочу відзначити програму проєкт Wonder School. Це англійська мова, яка народилась на початку війни як просто розмовні клуби, де жінки потребували практичних навичок, ті, хто поїхали, ті, хто залишався. Зараз це офіційна школа, яка працює з 3 категоріями жінок. Жінки-представниці громадського сектору по спеціальному навчанню, жінки бізнесу, з бізнес-середовища, і нова наша ініціатива – це англійська для медиків, для медиків всіх профілів різних установ. Мій улюблений проєкт, який ми реалізуємо, називається «Велофорсаж». Він виник з одного з запитів, який надійшов в фонд Сумської області, де жінкам, фельдшеркам, які досі обслуговують прикордонні території, 5-7 кілометрів від кордону з Росії, потребують не просто велосипеди, а потребують електричні велосипеди. Народилась назва «Велофорсаж», і вже 200 плюс, я називаю, велосипедів, які ми передали в медичні установи не тільки Сумської, але вже і Донецької, Дніпропетровської, Миколаївської областей, Харківської областей, які обслуговують і допомагають дістатися до своїх пацієнтів, пришвидшитись іноді, де в закладах немає зовсім транспорту. Проєкт генераторі для бізнесу і для установ, останній, який ми називаємо «Підживлюємо бізнес», дійсно цікавий проєкт, великий відклик мали на саме цей від підтримки жіночого бізнесу. В часи блекаутів, перебою електроенергії забезпечували жінкам вибір їх альтернативних джерел. Для нас велика честь отримати в 2023 році перший грант такого масштабу $1,5 мільйони від Єврейської Федерації Північної Америки. який ми зараз реалізовуємо. Тому в нас є зараз змога продовжувати допомагати бізнесу, жінкам малого підприємства, допомагати їм не просто отримувати гроші, а робити, ми це називаємо, втілювати принцип кола по воді. Це мікропроекти, я називаю їх філантропічного характеру, які вони обирають в якості підтримки, безкоштовної допомоги, надання сервісу для окремих родин, якихось громад, тобто для тих категорій, яких вони вибирають. Тому навіть маленькі гранти, які ми надаємо, а це суми від $1000 до 2500, вони вже змінюють екосистему. Це і податки для людей, це нове працевлаштування, навіть одна людина протягом року, це офіційний статус, це втілення проєктів, закупівля здебільшого українського виробництва, обладнання для бізнесу. Тим самим, я вважаю, що повний цикл завершується тут в Україні, і незважаючи на те, що іноді навіть важко назвати, що це бізнес маленький, мікробізнес, ми знаємо, що відсоток коштів, які сплачуються податками і підтримки, наповнює бюджет України на 68%. Тому я дуже вірю в саме наших підприємець, які іноді вважають, що їх не дуже видно, і вони не дуже помітні, і не настільки могутні і великі, тому для нас велика честь підтримувати таких людей, давати їм мрію, мріяти і втілювати їх. Сьогодні, я знаю, тут присутні дві наші грантерки, які отримали тревел-гранти на подорожі, представляти свій бізнес в Європі, в Америці, і завдяки яким я теж потрапила саме на цю конференцію. Дуже вам дякую, буду рада відповісти на всі питання тут сьогодні або потім в будь-яких мережах, офіційних сторінках нашої організації. Дякую дуже.
Thank you very much, Vlada. I am sure that we will receive messages on how to contact you directly. So if you don't mind, please leave your contact information in the chat. And thank you so much. And with that, I will now turn it over to Kate Eisler of WMarketplace, who will moderate our panel discussion with Ukrainian businesswomen. Kate Eisler is the co-founder of WMarketplace, a platform to provide businesswomen with support, technical tools, and market assessment to ensure their business success through a better developed digital presence. WMarketplace is a strategic partner of the US Department of Commerce, and it has worked with us on numerous initiatives to support Ukrainian women businesses. Kate, please lead the discussion.
Hello, and thank you all for being here. I am so happy to be here. When I think about all the work that is being done to support women in Ukraine, it makes me so happy I can only smile. And so I have invited women that I actually am fortunate enough to have met all but one of these women and worked with them through some of the programs that we've talked about today. So Anna is here, Daria is here, Nadiia, and Iryna. And so, and I would like, Nadiia, are you here? I'm just looking, there you are, great, okay. So thank you, ladies. And you know, one of the things that we've heard over and over this morning is the importance of women-owned businesses and understanding the programs and support. And so as we started to look at what is needed in the Ukraine market and how can we support these women, we think it is incredibly important to hear their voices. And so we've heard the policymakers and we've heard the program directors talk about what they are doing for Ukrainian women-owned businesses. And what we'd really like to do is now is really talk to those businesses and give you some insight into their entrepreneurial journeys, their business journeys, and how these programs and support services are really affecting their businesses. And so we're going to take a minute and hear from these women and then actually open up the floor so that you can ask some questions. And so if I can just go ahead and start, I've asked these women to give you some insights into their business And so I'm just going to go with my screen. So Daria, can we just start with you and talk about your business and your journey through entrepreneurship before and during the war?
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for organizing this event. Thank you very much to American government and American people and U.S. Embassy Kyiv for supporting women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in general in Ukraine. And my name is Daria Mustafina. I am director of NGO Institute of Partnership and Sustainable Development, and we were honored to implement our Ukraine, basically the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs in Ukraine. And in my case, of course, we try to build a complex ecosystem in developing women leadership and entrepreneurship in Ukraine, which includes, of course, educational part, mentoring, sharing success stories, advocating women's rights, but also providing some financial support and supporting women directly. In our case, as implementer of Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, I have to say that it's an amazing program which provides amazing opportunities for Ukrainian women, but it's also a program which, to be honest, saved a lot of people's lives in the beginning of the full-scale war. Because our alumni, women entrepreneurs who were on our community immediately when the full war started to help their communities and people around in terms of providing them some basic necessities, providing them help in evacuating people, in providing them some place to stay in other regions of Ukraine, but also of starting to produce some other goods which were in a big need in those first days or during the full-scale invasion. It was some protecting stuff, bulletproof jackets for our defenders, which they were provided for free, and by this saved a lot of people's lives. And now we understand that our community in Ukraine is those women who are very strong and resistance in terms of supporting Ukrainian economy, because it's socially responsible women who provide jobs, who pay taxes, and who basically to sell their products and services not only in Ukraine but also abroad. And also it's very important that because of the trust in terms of working with U.S. Embassy Kyiv, we were able from the first days, I have to say, of full-scale war, also start one new program. It's called WMNPower, and basically it was based by the needs of our alumni, because a lot of them started to help their communities, provide some basic necessities, to help evacuate people or to renovate even bombing shelters or provide some place to stay. And we understood that there is a big need of organizing some partnership program for developing partnerships on the ground, on the level of hromadas, communities, and to respond in a synergy, develop a synergetic effect between from the partnerships, developed partnerships between local authorities, local businesses, and local civil society organizations, to respond a crisis and basically to build basics for future rebuilding Ukraine and developing the country. And in these terms, it's also the program was supported by U.S. Embassy Kyiv on the beginning in 2022. And we have like really a lot of amazing cases of developing partnerships inside the local communities and organizing some women initiatives. Like it's of course, there are more humanitarian initiatives with wide range of spheres. It's where, for example, renovating bombing shelters in schools or kindergartens, or providing food or some basic necessities for local people, or, for example, helping and developing some women's spaces on a local level, and so on. And from our side, as organizers, we tried to, even by procurements, to support women entrepreneurs. And in every program, and for example, the last months, we supported 50 women-led initiatives, local one, and provided 50 mini grants of $3,000 US by the support of UN Women and Women Peace and Humanitarian Fund, because this year this program is supported by these honorable donors. And we think that it's very important in every action or in every procurement, even you are doing as NGO, as a government institution, and even with these small funds to support women entrepreneurs. In our case, of course, we are going and we are trying to develop women businesses, because women businesses is those who are helping in the most local communities, who provided jobs to locals, and who are socially responsible. We implemented also one more program on supporting women in agri-food together with Aid Food in 2023. It's called Empowering Women in Agri-Food. And of course, we understand, and Aid Food is a body of European Union and one of the biggest networks of venture funds and scientific institutions, think tanks working on the field of food security and innovations in agri-food sector. And of course, we understand that rural women now and women entrepreneurs from rural areas now needs our support in terms of helping them receive some mentoring support, educational support, but of course, financial support to buy some equipment, or to relocate their businesses, or to scale their businesses, or go abroad, or find new customers, or restarting their businesses, or building new logistic channels, and so on. So of course, we very thankful for international community for supporting, and we think that it's crucial to scale the programs like our Ukraine, because if we invest more in women entrepreneurs now, of course we support Ukrainian economy, we support Ukrainian economic independence, and basically we support the democratic way of development of our country, because we understand very well that now we have the battle between democracy and authoritarianism, and by supporting Ukrainian women, we are directly supporting the democracy way of and the opportunity to choose our future.
Thank you so much, Daria. I appreciate all the work that you do, and I know that we're going to talk more. I just want to mention as we go, you'll see some survey questions come up on the panel. And so we're trying to gather information from all of you and really get your feedback. As I said, one of the most important things that we're trying to accomplish is hear from you on the ground and understand where the entrepreneurs are in Ukraine. And so we've designed these questions to kind of capture your feedback. And so please feel free to fill those out and give your thoughts to us. So Anna, I know that we have worked together now for almost a year and a half. I can't believe it, but we have, and I know a little bit about your business, but I would love for you to share, because we have seen your business go from a Ukrainian enterprise with a little bit of international to really growing. And so I'd really like you to sort of talk about your business and your entrepreneur journey, because I think it's a really interesting story. So could you share that?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? That's
Yep.
fine. The sound? Okay. Thank you very much for inviting. I'm always very happy to share and maybe sometimes inspire other entrepreneurs. This wall is popping out. My name is Anna Zmiievska. I am a founder of Anzy Home. We are a manufacturing and we are a handmade manufacturing located in east of Ukraine. We had been relocated in 2022 from Kyiv to Dnipropetrovsk region. Our manufacturing produces home decor and kids products, which we are very actively exporting. So we are mainly export business, and we started the export before full-scale war, so maybe since 2018. I would say that because of we are exporting, we were able to survive during 2022, and now we are growing, and we grew much more in comparison with our level before war. So this message is about that sometimes one door is closed, but another opens. So I think that we got a lot of new opportunities and a lot of different kinds of support in general, not only my business, but in general, Ukraine. And we are trying to use these opportunities a lot. For Anzy Home, for my business, United States market is a strategic one, is the main one. So we are exporting mainly to United States. We are exploring and trying to enter European markets as well, but still United States gives us like, I think 80% of our income. And we employ currently nearly 20 people, and most of them are women. Anzy Home is positioned as a social responsible business because we are employing Ukrainian women who do our products. All products are handmade. We do hand crocheting and hand knitting, home decor, and so we employ women for easy job, which doesn't need a lot of rest skills or some long education or some specific knowledge, because this kind of hobby is very popular in Ukraine. Now we have 11 women artisans who do products, who specifically working in our manufacturing. And we try to focus on women who really need this kind of job, displaced, internally displaced, and single mothers. And sometimes we work with retired persons or women on maternity leave who need some additional income. So this is how I see this social responsibility. So we create jobs in Ukraine, and also thanks to exporting, we try to help Ukrainian economy grow and bring some money from outside. For sure, we do have some challenges. If we can talk about some obstacles and challenges today, not everything is very smooth, and with export, it's also challenging. We are selling online, so we are selling we are in e-commerce, and this is how we met Kate, and we were in the accelerator. So I try to learn a lot from different sources and how to better position our products outside of Ukraine in foreign markets. And we have a lot of knowledge, but we have some problems for sure. Logistics, it's obvious that from Ukraine is not very fast to ship something overseas. And I think that we have some like if logistic would be easier, the demand for our products would be higher because customers in the United States, for example, they are not very keen to wait for weeks for their orders. They would like to have it next day. This is a challenge. How we are trying to solve this problem. We are trying to work with fulfillment. So we ship some products in batches to United States and ship from there to ensure our customers fast delivery. But this is quite expensive venture. So in order to ship economically feasible way, we need to ship a lot, and in order to produce a lot, we need some investment. We have a lot of grant opportunities, a lot of support projects in Ukraine, but not much of these opportunities actually support some like manufacturing activities. You cannot buy materials and produce goods and ship them, for example, to United States. You can create your marketing strategy or like branding or something like this. So this is where I feel a gap. So and I don't want to go to direct investment now. And I understand, on another hand, that it's very difficult to find direct investment, private investment into Ukrainian hardware business. So it's very risky. So for the business itself, it's quite difficult to handle all this. We are trying, we reinvest, but still, if we would have some programs or some support funds that can help us to do this, maybe I'm not aware about them, but not so much in my scope. So this is one issue which I see for specific, which I can share. And the second issue that I can see is this, when we talk about e-commerce in European market or in United States market, you need to play rules of this specific market, and you need to compete on this specific market. We in Ukraine do not have, for example, very common payment capture systems as Stripe, for example. It's very common, and all Americans would like to pay via Stripe, but we do not have access to these like very well known systems yet. And we have some alternatives, but you know, when you would like to have a like a belief from your customer, they need to see very usual instruments to buy from Ukrainian business. They buy from Ukrainian businesses, they're already in risk. But if they pay through some system which is not very known, it's also could be a challenging problem. So this is another point which can be maybe discussed on a higher level, or maybe is being discussed now. So to connect in Ukraine to this popular payment providers and payment system, and making like bringing us closer to this all e-commerce Western processes, I think they would help many entrepreneurs easier enter foreign markets, because now it's challenging. When I can imagine that when I started 5 years ago, it was very difficult to understand how to sell in United States or in Europe, and now sometimes it's easier, but still you need to find out how to, like some technical stuff. So this is two, I think, challenges we are facing now, but still we have a lot of opportunities for sure. And I would like also to mention that my intention to support Ukrainian women, and it's in creating jobs in Ukraine. And I have another intention to support Ukrainian entrepreneurs. That's why 2 years ago we launched a project uniting Ukrainian manufacturers of home decor. And I'm one of the co-founders of this project. And With this, we unite manufacturers and trying together to enter foreign markets. And as usual, when you are collaborating, it's easier because we are sharing some competencies, we are sharing some knowledge. And this August, we managed to present Ukrainian products in large exhibition and large trade fair in New York. And actually, Vlada and Nedak already said that they supported with travel grants some of the women entrepreneurs exhibiting. So we managed to do this, and I'm very keen on to proceed to present as much Ukrainian products as possible into different markets, because I believe that Ukrainians are very creative and we have a lot of cool businesses, a lot of cool ideas. And yeah, so this is my long speech. Sorry, maybe too long.
No, that's great, Anna. And I think that you brought up some really important pieces in terms of the infrastructure needed. And, you know, there's capital needs that we know, but there's also such a big infrastructure needed in terms of how those relations work, both within the manufacturing and how to make that ease, but also in the payments. And I think that that's a really important piece of how we need to develop support for women entrepreneurs who are either exporting or working within Ukraine. I think both of those things, in terms of those barriers and those programs, very specifically targeted at building infrastructure and knocking down those barriers. We heard a little bit about the tax concessions that are being made and the policy in the legislation in Ukraine. So from the deputy minister. And so I think we ought to, you know, keep that at the forefront and really think about that in terms of ways to support. So thank you.
Yeah,
Now,
I would be very happy if we can raise this. And so we are here to raise our voices and maybe bring some changes.
That's exactly what we're here to do. And I really appreciate that. So Iryna, I want to kind of shift gears and talk about your business and your journey, because when we met this summer, I was very impressed with the work that you've done and under the circumstances that you've done it. And so I think that you have a really interesting story to tell about the Scarves and about how you have worked through your entrepreneurial journey and the challenges that you have overcome. And so if you will share that, that would be great.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here in such a great community of women. My name is Iryna, and I'm co-owner of brand of silk scarves named Vigi. Our brand was created just like half a year before the war, and we created it out of a desire to preserve memories and emotions through the scarves, because in the world of access of things, why is there the next one and sense? So we started creating our custom made scarves with children drawings, with family portraits. So we made it like abstracts transforming to the scarf. And I can also add that moreover, in our country, scarf has been like a talisman for many centuries. We considered that it can be like a symbol featuring of traditional Ukrainian motifs. And then when the war began, our mission, it became even like more clear, because we created unique scarves that not only represent like Ukrainian art and culture, but also they symbolize Ukrainian resilience and hope for the future. So that is we are motivated by this belief, and that even during the war, entrepreneurship can support this economy, and we can strengthen like this our national identity. But speaking about challenges, I can mention that one of the biggest challenges was at the beginning of the war, because like we're a creative business, and it was like firstly difficult to understand how we can continue, and moreover our sewing department, it is located in Bucha, and as we know, it was occupied in the very beginning, so we were waiting for the good news, and as soon as it was freed, our team called us, and like they told we wanna work, and that was our like starting point from which we started this like new story of our brand. So that was like our restart. Also, surely we had at the beginning also lots of logistic problems, fabric suppliers delays, and but over the time all the processes were solved, and we made a decision that we need to show through our brand, through our scarves, the Ukrainian culture through the Europe. So we participated in different charity events, charity festivals to support our country, and to show how beautiful our culture is. So we also, for us, it was also very important, as you have mentioned, this summer participation in our for Ukraine summit, and even to speak more about this, I can add that before war, we participated in the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, head by Daria Mustafina, and that gave us a strong foundation for the growth at the beginning, and we received lots of useful knowledges to conduct our business plan and so on. And this summer I pitched on the Ukraine on the summit, which also brought us good results. We received grant, but it's not only about financial support. It's about this great women community, because it's really nice support, and people who like the same minded, it is very important to be among such people who can support each other. So, and also I think that it's not only speaking about what a woman need. I think it's not only like about financial and grant support. I think it's also very important to maybe implement in those programs some mental help, because like, I don't know, maybe 90% of Ukrainian people and women, they have psychological disorders because of the surrounding, what surrounds us, and but mostly like we count the war problems in like in finances, in number of lost soldiers, lost production, but it's also important to think about those question on physical disorders. So I guess that's it for now.
Iryna, thank you so much. And I think that it is incredibly important, and I'm glad you brought it up, because there are hard skills and hard areas of support, but there's also bringing the community together and addressing the realities of the the stressful situation that Ukrainian entrepreneurs are dealing with. And, women, as they start businesses, as they retool their businesses, that's an incredibly important piece to really capture. How are we going to make these women successful, and how do we support all of their needs? And I think that that's an incredible piece. So thank you so much. Now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about Nadiia joins us from a little bit bigger business. And I think that it's important that we feature and really talk about the different roles that women are playing, both in big business and smaller business. So Nadiia, I know that SPP is a larger business, and you are working diligently on rebuilding infrastructure and those plans. And I think that as a woman leading those efforts for skilling and reskilling. And so I think that that's an important piece, that if you would give us a little bit of background about your journey, and then really kind of help us understand from a larger infrastructure business and that reskilling of women and attracting that talent that we've heard about. If you could speak to that, that would be great.
Thank you so much, Kate, and good afternoon, dear all. My name is Nadiia Petruchenko. I am the co-founder and chief business officer at SPP Development Ukraine. We are a key developer in the renewable energy sphere and also an engineering company regarding energy infrastructure in Ukraine. First of all, I would like to say thank you for all organizers, and also I would like for the opportunity to discuss such an important topic. And also I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the American government, the state trade department, and for personnel to Ms. Brink for your unwavering support in our faith victory. Your assistance helps us to stand strong, move forward in meeting our beliefs in our faith and our victory. And also I would like to express deepest gratitude to the Madam Ambassador Markarova for your unwavering, unyielding commitment and your unyielding work in Ukrainian favor. As Kate said, yes, I represent largest business in Ukraine. We are engineering company. We are a company which provided full cycle energy solutions from project development, construction, and operation. Our company worked on the front lines of energy infrastructure already devastated from Russian aggression starting in 2014. When the war escalated in 2022, our first priority was to secure the safety of our people and uninterrupted operation of active generation power under our care. And I'm incredibly proud to say that we faced these challenges head-on and emerged stronger. At the onset of the invasion, we had over 100 employees. Despite the enormous pressure, we've made a critical decision. No layouts, no salary cuts. We understood the gravity of our role of energy front and chose to continue operation. This decision has not only strengthened our team, but also boosted the entire new energy sector in Ukraine. Currently, despite the ongoing war, we as appointed contractor develop and build an energy facility in Ukraine. Currently, we have over 45 megawatts under construction right now. This is for the essential energy needs. This new generation capacity is not just about power. It's about enabling vital services, food, healthcare, and other essentials that communities rely on. Distributed generation before the war and currently for sure is at the heart of our work. The strategy that ensures energy security and integrates deeply with the community we serve. Our company has also a department for backup and autonomous power systems and power solution. Through the installation of backup and hybrid solutions, we provide a small and medium-sized business with autonomous energy supplier and reliable backup solutions. And also, we support householders to backup energy supplier during the blackouts due to missiles attack of Russia constantly for our energy systems. Today, Ukrainian energy business is undergoing the path to the evolution. This day, Ukrainian energy business make a choice to be more transparent, working with open market, and we as a company who lead this way. We envision this future sculpted by collaboration, open dialogue, transparent and shared objectives. A future where Ukraine stands as a beacon of renewable energy in Europe. And we consider that this path Ukraine should cross together with partners. These partners can bring to Ukraine not only financial and funding as we requested for sure, but also technology, but also the knowledge, but also the beliefs in our way and strategy and all another which Ukraine requested now. I would like to highlight that word now, since numbers of conversation about inputs which energy system and infrastructure needs in Ukraine during the post-war period. But we consider that we need these essential services, we need this energy, we need this effort right now. And right time is now. And thanks to the people from the community, energy community in the world, they do really understand such requests from Ukraine, and they do really hope and support Ukraine on this path. And thanks to all community engaged, a Ukrainian energy system working, growing, developing, despite that enormous pressure and despite the challenges which we face it with brutal Russian aggression. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. You have all mentioned something in common that I think is really important that we highlight and that we kind of bring back to the surface. When we opened the conference and we heard Secretary Lago talk about the economic impact of these businesses, and we heard each of the ambassadors echo that and say, women's businesses contribute up to 68% of the tax base, and that they are financially generally more successful than those businesses owned by men. And that's a statistic that runs around the world. It's common. And we know that women immediately give back to their community. And each of you have talked about employing women within your community. And I want to highlight that and ask you very specifically, are there things that could help in terms of programmatic policy legislation within Ukraine that can help on that specific issue to help you continue that initiative, employing people, giving money back in your community? Anna, you mentioned both adding employees and your nonprofit. Iryna, I know that you have actually contributed and continue to employ people. And Daria, you continue to support women to do that across the board. So I would like to just open that to all of you to say, are there specific things that we can do to continue and enhance that activity of giving back to your communities as businesses? Any thoughts on specifics? Or, you know, I know that when we invest direct capital in your businesses, that's one of the places that it goes immediately.
I think, as I already told, it's about surely it's about financial support, it's about grants, but it's also about implementing some supporting mental health, some implementing in those programs some the directions, because it's very crucial for women entrepreneurs in terms of this in terms of war, because running business under such conditions it brings lots of stress, emotional strain, and mental health challenges, balancing with those business different roles of women.
Great. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
Kate, I will be happy to tell you. I don't remember who exactly mentioned that the new reality of the mothers who travel with their kids, who the conditions for the employers, their own business should have special. It's not like plain rooms. It's not about this. Even in our space in Kryvyi Rih, we have all opportunity to have meetings or gathering for the women with the kids, and it's new standards for the security and for the time spending for the women. And in this case, for us, as for the fund, it's also difficult when women apply with their kids because they want to travel, and depending on the territory they are live in Ukraine, they can't, or they have no any relatives to share. I also think that it's one of the issue we should think, and the new standard about between employers and workers, and how it can be relevant, how the new steps can be done. Thank you so much.
That is a great point, is how we actually address childcare and bringing your children with you to work and work functions, and how to accommodate for that effectively, right? That's great. Thank you so much. That's a good one. Daria?
Yeah, if you allow just like some general comment, because now we have like a really big challenges in a labor market. We understand very well that a lot of women and men defending now our land on a battlefield. We know that we have millions of IDPs, we have millions of Ukrainians who are abroad, so we have a lot of challenges in qualified labor market in a country, and it's to my mind it's very connected also with providing opportunities for people for housing, in terms that a lot of houses were destroyed, the whole cities were destroyed, and people need to have normal conditions for living if they want to beg, for example, and be represented on a labor market. But it's also very important to talk about a childcare system and opportunities for women fully participate in labor market, in terms of having the opportunity for their kids to be in school or kindergarten, and to be in a safe conditions in during those period of time when women are doing their business or working. And it's also very important to understand that it's possible only with help of our partners and alliances, and we believe that they are still will be continue to support Ukraine in terms of providing microfinancial support, and this is also includes programs of housing and rebuilding critical infrastructure, but not only. It's about rebuilding hospitals, energy infrastructure, also helping Ukraine to rebuild digital infrastructure and to protect it, because we also hear more and more about attacks on our cyber attacks on a national level, but also on a local level. And it's also very important to, during the war, all the time, governments and together with international partners have to develop something like generally we call war insurance. It's basically because it's too risky to invest in businesses inside the country which have full-scale war. And in these terms, this war insurance, it's a need right now, and it's also possible only with help of international community, and basically to invest in those businesses which are already exist, and to build new ones, and develop new investment projects in Ukraine. So it's a complex issue, and we understand that all of this possible only which we are able to protect our borders. So also the most important right now, of course, it's to protect Ukrainian borders, Ukrainian cities, and provide an opportunity for Ukrainian businesses to work on Ukrainian territory, and of course not be occupied, which now is happening like every single day with a number of businesses in Ukraine.
Thank you, Daria. And I know that this is a really complex, there's no short answer to this, but I appreciate the fact that, you know, again, the echoing of the childcare and the safety, but the infrastructure in terms of housing and digital protections are incredibly important. So when we think about, you know, how we facilitate these businesses continuing and starting, one of the things that the UN says about Ukrainian women-owned businesses is the average length of time that they've owned a business is 6 years, which is pretty amazing. And so if you think about the fortitude and the ingenuity that that takes for those women, that's incredible. And that is when you look for investment, you look for stability in that business. While I understand the chaos and the things that out of control, I do want to highlight that there is some incredible stability within those businesses that we need to support and continue to talk about in terms of how we invest and what the policies and government programs look for in business stability. And so that's one of the things that we don't want to miss. So thank you so much for that. So any last thoughts? I want to open it up, and if there are questions from any participants that would like to put them in the chat, but also want to ask you ladies one last question in terms of your thoughts in terms of opportunities for the future, and what are you looking forward to? What are the things that you think could really turn the dial for women entrepreneurs in Ukraine? And you have an audience that is here and want to hear what are the things that could help. And we've heard some of those, but what do you think the opportunities are? So anybody. No specific ones. I think that there's incredible opportunity as we think about the amazing businesses that we've heard about today. And I know that there are others. And throughout the next several weeks, we're going to hear from several other women entrepreneurs and women leaders across Ukraine. And we're looking at very specific issues in terms of how the gender norms are changing within the country that we've started to talk about today, in terms of the policies allowing women to succeed, and, you know, the restrictions on women and mothers working being changed and lifted. We are going to talk about some of those barriers that Anna brought up and that Iryna brought up in terms of how do we help with manufacturing, and how do we ease that payment process, and addressing new things that we all talked about in terms of infrastructure. Nadiia, the things that you're doing to invest in energy infrastructure to keep businesses, you know, in good structure so they can go on, and then to address things like the mental health that people are facing, I think are incredibly important, so that as we build our body of knowledge, I would encourage you all, please join us for other conferences. And if you have entrepreneurs that you know of that you believe could add tremendous value, we're always interested in raising those voices, because one of the things that we are trying to accomplish here is really to put your voices at the center. And so that we hear, because I think oftentimes it's easy for us to make assumptions about how we can help you entrepreneurs, but hearing directly is really the aim here. And so with that, I'm going to move back to Agnes, our esteemed MC, to kind of conduct a larger Q&A. And I thank you all. I thank you for your participation, your passion, and your willingness to continue to run your businesses and support your community. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kate. That was an interesting and very important discussion. And this is exactly what we plan and hope to do going forward with our future conferences. We want to focus on bringing voices of you, Ukrainian businesswomen, to help us understand what you need most to succeed in this very difficult time. So thank you, Kate, for moderating the panel. And let's open the floor, please, to questions. And I will ask Kate maybe to help me see if we have any questions from the audience.
We have one as, let's see, how to make specific male professions to women attractive, higher salaries, insurance, and education. I think that that's a really interesting question in terms of, as the workforce is changing from, you know, a more mixed workforce, and we're seeing that over 50% of the businesses registered in Ukraine since 2023 are women-owned, and that has increased by 20%. And so, I mean, from an outsider, I want to hear from you, but from an outsider, I'd say that those policy changes and that investment is really helping to do that. But very open to hearing other thoughts on that.
And probably also making time for women to requalify. In other words, to make the childcare more available so they can regain new skills and learn and have time to do it. So this is exactly what we will hear more of going forward and explore in future conferences. And let's see if there are more questions. If not, you know, this is our first session, so you will have a chance to ask questions of future panelists and of us. But I don't want to go too long today because we are probably slightly over time already. This is always such an exciting and interesting discussion. Every time we have our Empower Her conference, it always goes over time because there are so many interesting voices and we want to hear you. We want to bring them on. So we apologize if we are going over time, but let's see if there's one more question. Maybe if not, like I said, we will have time to ask questions later during future conferences. But do we see anything else?
Yeah, there's two more questions, Agnes, that I want to put in here. One is the success or failures in initiatives and programs that support women, that support businesses, workforce development that we've come across. And I want to maybe touch on this, and then if MaryAnn is still here, I know that she has some. So when I think about some of the programs, the program that we have done in connection with her, Empower Her, and with the AmCham Ukraine, which is the one Anna participated in initially, where we met her, is we provided a scholarship to an accelerator that really helped Anna get started selling in different places in the US. And I think that that's been a success. So Anna, can you talk about that just briefly?
Yeah, thank you. So I would say that this opportunity to learn and to improve our e-commerce skills was amazing for us. We had started exporting before, but due to this program, we had an opportunity to know the perspective from the market where we intended to sell more. So before, and I think it's such kind of programs when we bring to Ukraine some knowledge from outside, from advanced countries where some things are more developed, is very important, because this knowledge which we got from the accelerator program was it shifted, it changed our business, I would say, because we understood how to reach target audience to which we are not belong to. It's very important. And I think that the existence of such kind of, it was a really success story. We grew our sales. We were able, because of the growth of our sales, we were able to hire more people, to create more jobs, and we proceed to growing. And I think that such kind of knowledge diffusion from West to Ukraine, it's also very important, because we need to know some advanced practices, advanced tools, and which will help our businesses, Ukrainian businesses, to succeed more. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that, and MaryAnn, I think that you probably have tremendous amount of success stories in terms of the same sharing knowledge between entrepreneurs and between countries. And if you could share a brief one, that would be awesome.
Sure. So the All Rebuild Ukraine initiative is obviously kind of like a spin-off of the regular program. And I think what made both successful is honestly our implementing partners on the ground in Ukraine. And then as I was describing the structure of the rebuild, we were working with alumni of that program within different countries that outside of Ukraine. And from a DC perspective, when we're coming up with these kind of policy program initiatives, we don't necessarily know all of the challenges on the ground in each of these individual economies. So the way that we've structured it is very much relying on strong networks with our implementing partners who are, experts in their local in their localities, both in terms of the economy, tax rules, that sort of thing. So AWE has been very successful both in Ukraine and across Europe because of that, and because of a kind of standardization of the educational background that's coming with that program. We've heard a lot of amazing success stories both before the invasion and since from AWE alumni in Ukraine. And when we were meeting finally some of these women in Slovenia in June, it was really inspiring to see how their businesses have evolved since 2022. Some of them, one woman in particular was like a fashion designer, and she kind of transitioned her business into making shoes for soldiers or something like that. So they're very innovative, and I think that that's something that when we're looking from like a government perspective of these sorts of programs and grant opportunities, that might be helpful to be flexible in that and to make sure that you're working with good partners. And I really hope that we'll be able to implement in Ukraine again for the first time since 2021, and that would be very exciting. So thank you, Kate.
Kate, I am told we have one more question. I don't see them because I'm not monitoring the chat. I'm sorry, but is there one more question? Time for one more question.
So I have one in the chat. And the question is, what do we think that the impact of personal visibility and public presence for women entrepreneurs is? And should women entrepreneurs to strive to be more visible? I'll tell you my answer to that, because this is what we do with the WMarketplace is we support women entrepreneurs. And I would say, absolutely, being more visible, having the confidence to be more visible in your business. I would say to each of you entrepreneurs, you know your business more than anyone else does. And so you kind of need to remember that in every day, because I think that oftentimes we become intimidated and think that others know more than we do. Being visible, using social media, talking about your business is a great way to build your brand, to build your visibility, and to attract either funding and partnerships and community support. And so from my perspective, that is everything. And if we can support that in any way, we will do that 100%.
And I think this is a great way to conclude it. So in conclusion, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to all speakers and panelists for an engaging session. I would also like to thank our participants for joining us today. Your voices are extremely important, and we want to put as much spotlight on them as possible. Ukrainian women-led businesses are crucial part of Ukrainians' resilience, and they will play a crucial role in rebuilding Ukraine's economy. And as you continue supporting Ukraine's economy, we want to continue supporting you. We encourage you to join our next virtual conference on November 5th. It will focus on advancing gender equality in Ukraine and shifting role of women in Ukrainian's economy. It will be another very important discussion. Please visit WMarketplace's website to register for the second conference and the conferences that will follow. Finally, thank you to all my team members who make this conference possible. Thank you for your continuing support and dedication to supporting Ukrainian women-led businesses. And this concludes today's presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.